NSFW, what is the dumbest thing you did because you were horny? Dyed my hair black. My roommate was doing it and the girl helping him was redonkulously hot. She came into the living room and told me, "We have some extra dye, I think you would look hot with black hair." I looked at her in that lime green tube top and said, "That sounds like a great idea." I found out I was allergic to hair dye when, 3 days later, my head swelled up and I looked like that orc general that attacked Minas Tirith in Return of the King with a full head of Elvis black hair. It took a whole month of medication for it to go away as my head was bright red under the hair and secreting a fluid that made my hair hard as a rock. Fun times. Number edit, since it keeps coming up, no, I did not hook up with her. Especially not an orc face. Paid $2 for a massage app on my Xbox that was supposed to make my controller vibrate. It didn't do anything for me and I forgot to refund it, so now I just have this random ass massage game in my library. Called my friend's mom mommy. In my senior year of high school, I was supposed to take AP tests all day. It would have looked good for college. Well, all the other grades had the day off, and my boyfriend was a year younger, thus being a grade below me. He picked me up to take me to school, and since his mom worked all day, we went right to his house since we couldn't do mine because my parents worked from home. It went great until his mom came home to check on him. So he basically shoved me into his closet. It wouldn't have been a problem except it wasn't even like a full closet. It was half the size of standard closets. She left and then decided to come back and bring him lunch. I was in that closet for over 2 hours, and my phone was at 10% when I first crawled in there. I ended up just sitting in the dark for about 45 minutes of it. Anyway, our wedding is in a few months. Discovered my dick is too big for a prescription bottle. Edit, I would like to clarify that the girth was the limiting factor as I did not attempt flaccid. I was dating a girl at work and we would regularly have sex at her side of our business complex. Though she was part of the same company, she was part of a separate regional division and not part of corporate, so her office was typically always empty besides her. One time we were really hot and heavy into it inside the restroom, and against our better judgment we decided anal was a good idea. So we did our thing and I blew the biggest deepest load into her ass imaginable. As I pulled out, there was a fair amount of poop on my dick, surprise anal and all, and I walk over to the sink to try and wash it off. As I'm rinsing myself into the sink, we hear the door to her office open and a large group of coworkers walk in. I panic and immediately try to put my dick away, and as I drop from my tiptoes, I slam my nutsack up against the wall of the sink and pull my taint skin so hard I almost buckled in pain. She runs out of the restroom and closes the door behind her, and I'm sitting in the dark on the toilet seat with shit on my dick and balls hurting, contemplating my life choices. Tried to choke myself with a towel. Woke up in a hospital with my mum beside me. When I was a kid, my dad would frequently take me to his job and give me meaningless tasks to help him out. He was a property manager for a secure gov building, federal guards at the doors, etc. Anyways, he had his office in the basement and was left alone down there by everyone else in the building. He would smoke cigarettes down there, blast music, etc. When I was 13, I went with him to work one day and he gave me the job of using an electric sander to take grime off of copper pipes in one of the machine rooms. I was left alone to my task for hours, and about an hour in I realized how incredibly powerful the vibration was on the sander. One thing led to another and I ended up grinding the handle of the sander on my dick. After I finished, I remember even at 13 saying to myself, "You're really weird, dude." Never told anyone, till now. Paid for a porn subscription that I didn't realize I was still paying for until 1.5 years later. $1,135 for one orgasm. I had intense sex with someone after not sleeping the previous night and not having enough water or eating anything the entire day, and fainted right after. I was incredibly stressed and focused on work all night and day before she got to my apartment. We originally had planned to get me some food and water first, but somehow ended up talking in depth about our weird, ambiguous relationship and our feelings, which got really emotional, and that led to sex. Despite my exhaustion, I found a hidden well of energy within myself and went at it really hard. It was honestly great, much better than I expected given my state. But afterward, when she was actually going to order food, I went to the bathroom to wash up and suddenly realized I felt nauseous. No matter how hungry I had been a moment prior, the thought of eating was now repulsive, unthinkable. I became very hot and started sweating, felt weak and shaky. I tried to leave the bathroom and called out to her for help. I woke up on the bathroom floor 10-15 seconds later by her count. I apparently collapsed and briefly lost consciousness, and she claimed she tried to catch me but couldn't reach in time. I'm lucky I didn't seriously injure myself on one of the hard edges in there. Just hurt my shoulder a little. Drove 4 hours to the beach to camp with a fuck buddy of mine. He stood me up and ghosted me. The icing on the cake was losing my keys in the sand and having to pay $300 for a new set to be cut. Edit, yes, my new key really cost that much. It was a 16 Jeep, and those stupid little chips are needed to make your key actually turn over the engine. So all of that was the cost of the key, programming the key, and the labor for the locksmith. I had about a mile stretch where I lost them, so I'm not sure how handy a metal detector would have been. I definitely wouldn't have been opposed to using one, though, if I had one handy. Paid for some chick's private Snapchat for a week. $20 wasted. Should have ordered a pizza instead. Jerked off at the top of a mountain, looking over my city, as doing something forbidden was an interesting idea. Well, the view was amazing, but I was scared to get caught. Looking back, if someone would caught me, I had serious issues now. Bailed a chick out of jail once. $200. She then got so drunk she peed on my couch and tried to bang my mom. Took her shopping and just left her there. Never talked to her again. Climbed into a friend's bed in the middle of the night without any discussion of it whatsoever. I still regret it to this day and feel like a sleazebag. He asked me to leave. Men in the porn industry, what are the dark and hidden truths of the industry? A friend of mine was a cameraman in the valley for a company and told me that substance abuse was pretty rife. Like the female talent showing up with empty liquor bottles in their cars. Another was just how shitty it can be to be a cameraman sometimes, which he was. He specifically told of a scene he filmed where he had to get underneath the man getting blown and just globs of spit would fall onto his forehead while he filmed that part of the scene. It was just so fucking gross to me, LMAO. I worked on one adult set, and bro. The smell. Ungodly. I'll never forget it. I dry heaved for about 20 minutes and couldn't go back into the room. Something deep was unlocked. I have a friend who was a sheltered housewife for decades, then became a widow and went down a spiral of meth and bad men. She's always asking me for advice and I've told her no or don't do it so many times I lost count. She was a cleaner at a music studio and the owner asked her to have sex with a guy on film for $500. She told me about it, and of course I told her no. She told me she needs some money for rent, so I told her to make sure he pays her up front. Of course now there's a porn movie of her and some guy on the internet that she was never paid for. Deleted. All those shower scenes are super cold. We're freezing out asses off in there because otherwise the camera lenses and equipment would be fucked from the steam. Trimax use is fucking rampant. So many injuries cause of suspensory ligament division. If you can't come on command, you're pretty much never gonna get a job with a larger studio. I don't know about the other studios, but pretty much any shoot in Burbank is at a rented property. The whole place ends up smelling like sweat and shit if anal is being shot. Former gay porn actor, you get paid more or less depending on what you're willing to do. The least amount is simply nude posing or jacking off on camera. The most one would get paid for is double penetration or being the bottom in an orgy. Also, a lot of gay porn actors aren't actually gay. They simply do it for the money and they're on so many pills like Viagra and Blue Chew that they develop erectile dysfunction by the time they're in their 40s. If you're subscribed to a high-profile star on OnlyFans, chances are, you're not chatting with them directly. There is no way anyone has the time to chat with every single subscriber. There are social media management teams that handle this. During college, I used to bounce for a lot of strip clubs that were frequented by a lot of early 2000s big-name stars in black porn. A few of them told me most of the BBCs they took a pounding from were extremely painful, they just took the pain and focused on the check. I'm friends with a director here in Japan. The industry is a mess right now to a point where porn production might become illegal in the future. Here's are some of the problems that the industry is facing. 1. Loss of revenue from online pirating. 2. Severe labor shortage, which is only made worse by needing to work longer hours for lower pay. There's only really a handful of male actors left in the industry. 3. New laws requiring a mandatory cool-off period after a shoot to allow actors to change their mind and prevent their work from entering the market. While this prevents exploitations, it also means that people need to wait a long time before getting paid for the shoot. 4. The above law is forcing actors to go underground where they are promised immediate payment but without all the safety and legal protection offered by legitimate productions. The government turns a blind eye to this because it's mission accomplished for them after passing law. So yeah, Japan might become like South Korea soon in that aspect. I am not a man in the porn industry, but I knew one. His heart is permanently damaged, and he has some neuropathy, as well, due to circulatory issues because he had to overuse Viagra. How the fuck do people come on command? Do constant suppression for a scene until the moment and then you just stop the mental blockage. Porn chews up its talent in some pretty cruel ways, man or woman. There's this thing called the magic eights, or at least there used to be. 8 dick, can last at least 80 minutes and still come on command, and can keep it up while at least 8 people just watch. Even with the magic eights, dudes will never make the same kind of money as their female co-workers in straight porn. If you are a dude, you often need to do gay porn just to earn a decent wage. Fluffers aren't really a thing when sildenafil, Viagra, is cheaper. The amount of sexual misconduct on set is bonkers. It's very common for experienced talent with no ethics to take advantage of new talent before or after a scene to show them the ropes. Working in porn fucks up your personal dating life, even if you are an accountant or marketing. Just mentioning that you work for porn company makes people very leery about dating you. You are almost entirely restricted to dating in the industry. Which sucks when you are just an accountant trying to get by. Edit, since people are asking, yes, I did work in the porn industry for a very brief period. I was an equipment manager for one of the production houses. I did not date any models, but I did date in the industry. I mostly just received inventory, but I also was in charge of loaning out assets like cameras, audio recording gear, lighting, etc. We would order gear, and it was my job to receive it, tag it, put it into inventory, then check it out for use. My wife worked in porn, editing raw footage for a British porn CO. A lot of what she saw was on the level consensual between 2 parties. But over the 3 years she was there she got asked to cut or make the scenes look better more and more often. A perfect example was when a male actor choked his counterpart into unconsciousness and continued to just brutalize her, face slapping, pinching and grabbing her breasts. She tidied it up best she could, came home fucking bawled her eyes out for 2 straight hours. She quit the next day and moved into reality TV for a while, but that too was awful, hours and treatment, and it's now out of the editing industry completely. I knew a dude worked in the Japanese porn industry. He said that often due to the pixelation there wouldn't be penetration, and for the money shots the guys would often hold a tiny hose on their Johnson with fake semen being pumped from off camera. What's something most men don't know they can do? Haggle at jewelry stores. Sometimes you might be able to get a cash discount or just maybe a lower price if you ask. I discovered this when I was a little short on a pendant I wanted to get and the salesperson said we can make that work when I let them know how much I had. Get breast cancer. Everyone has some amount of breast tissue naturally and lower chances still aren't zero by any means. Ask other brothers for help. Just go buy chocolate cake and no one can actually stop you. Fold your balls over the side of your dick so it looks like a sad hot dog. Kegel exercises. Say no. Most people don't know this, but the ducks at the park are free. I have 483 ducks. Leave her. Ask an employee where something is in the grocery store. Read the instructions for the furniture. Raise a child without the mom. I lost everything when she left. I just showed up for my boy no matter what. We bonded beyond anything I thought was possible. The system believes they belong with the mom. This doesn't mean you can't do it. Just dig no matter what forever. He's snuggling his girlfriend and puppy on the couch right now, and playing Minecraft, WTF. Okay, I haven't done it perfectly. Kupla edits, thank you so much everyone for the love and support. I'm feeling it. Thanks to people who shared their own story too. Please don't forget about your own health. I did have a major heart attack about 8 years into it, without any family history, and I've had a fairly healthy lifestyle for a while now. I don't have firm data as to if and how I was affected, but stress and trauma don't just disappear. Lastly, therapy. Play therapy for the young uns. It's the best. And maybe firstly, the Minecraft bit was a joke. Hilarious to hear him playing it with his girlfriend. She was asking him to build this and move that in their house, gulp. Multiple orgasms during sex. Deleted. One thing that many men may not know they can do is to seek out emotional support and counseling when dealing with mental health issues or life stressors. Many men feel like they need to tough it out and not show vulnerability, leading to untreated mental health issues and a lack of support. However, seeking out help can lead to improved mental health and overall well-being.